Good evening, everybody, or whatever time zone that you may be residing in. My name is BlueCow1980. We are here for the final match of the round of 64 in the ALTTPR Enemizer Tournament 2024. Slapshotfed and bydey have split one apiece. Tonight is the rubber match for all the round 64 marbles. The winner is going to get TriXXX. I apologize for that name. It's probably something very simple to say, and I really don't know. So I'll take the blame for that one. But that's who's waiting in around the 32. I want to thank Esme so much for getting us set up tonight. I want to thank Shasta for signing up, for doing some cracking. The links were just put into chat just a few minutes ago for our runners and myself and Shasta. So please feel free to give everyone a follow if you so desire. And we are on our way. That is a bloopy on Aga Ledge after a red 20 was in Sank. So pretty much we have simple rules for a Randomizer tournament. There's a red 20 and there's a piece of heart. So pretty much enemies can appear anywhere. As you're going to see, you can have some interesting enemy situations in areas that you don't particularly care for, because it can make some areas more difficult than others. You will also have Chaos Boss Shuffle, which means a boss can appear anywhere as long as the arena can support it, and said boss can appear as many times as possible. There are cases where sometimes a boss just does not appear at all in Chaos Boss Shuffle. This is opposed to normal Boss Shuffle, where everyone appears once and then 3 are guaranteed to appear twice. Chaos means, for example, we had 4 Vitreiuses and a seed that I did earlier today. We had 4 Arguses and a seed I did earlier last week. Fred, who has passed up at least on one piece of heart that I saw, that was in Lost Woods, has passed up on the 300 as well. Bydey's been a little bit more collecting. Well, there's Berna on the shovel dig spot. Red 20 in Link's house. We're going to see who does what. Looks like they're both going in the same direction. Fred is there first. There is a full heart container. So yeah, as Made Walker said, yeah, the health is nice early. You don't know what you're going to be running into. You can get yourself in some nasty situations. See what this is here. Flippers are the sunken treasure. So right there opens up Zora, which we talk about the money. But to go back to that point about the health, there was a seed yesterday where 3 hearts going up to the start, checking out Uncle drop down. You're not thinking much of it. There's 2 pokies there guarding the chest and Uncle drop down. And it was just next to impossible to get through. When they returned, when they had a little bit better means to get around that, there was their first logical glove waiting. So that's just a little symbol of the nastiness that could be waiting there. Mini Moldorm Cave has nothing to speak of. So off to probably Ice Rod Cave we go. All the old school retro video game fans are probably recognizing the GoldenEye MSU that is being played on the bydey's stream. Bydey had no bombs, so I had to do an extra screen transition there. Just a progressive shield in Ice Rod Cave. Fred wanted to make sure that the Ice Rod Cave knew of his thoughts about said shield. So now we all floating in the water here. Looks like Fred's going to come up here and check the island real quick. Just some antioxidants sitting there. Thief rams into him, makes him drop a couple bombs. Piece of heart on Hobo. I would assume our next check is then to swim back down and go into the waterfall cave. Bydey will do an island check on the way back and get chased. Thankfully only dropped 2 rupees there. Got one of them back. Thief is pesky. Ten arrows and a red 20. And Fred's going to see what the bottle toss gets, and that is a normal bee. Full heart on Zora Ledge. Bydey. Bydey. Look at your rupee count. Look at your rupee count, Bydey. He knows, and he's going after it hard anyway. Okay, at least he knew. Most people would skip that full heart. I was worried there. Zora money can easily be found here. First, we're going to go to back escape on Fred's side. You could always hula-hand easily enough using the bomb trick to go into the back of escape and mess up the game that way. Oh, there is a hammer in the back of escape. Tree pull for some magic. We're going to see what the Uncle drop down has here. Green goo. So that gives him 2 bottles apiece there. Lionel. Not fun. Piece of heart. And that Lionel just wasn't playing any games. Fred was able to navigate the Lionel. Key in the first check of Hyrule Castle there, going towards the front of escape. Fred 20 and Fred's next check. Trying to figure out what Bydey's doing. I can only assume. That's why I'm not really saying anything. Looks like this is going to be an Agina check. Red 20 and Agina. Red goo for Fred. And Zelda Cell. That puts him up to 3 bottles. Bydey going to get his hammer at this point. Fred going to head into Eastern here after we make a quick pit stop at Saha. Money, piece of health, and bombs. Did not even talk to Saha just to see where the green pendant dungeon is in the Dark World. As you can see on our tracker, we have red crystals in Eastern and Desert. We have a normal pendant in Tower of Hera. So we have a normal pendant, a green pendant, and everything else blue crystals in the Dark World. Let's see if bydey talks to Saha. Oh, ouch. That was a nasty crystal roller room for Fred. That was nasty. That was just ugly. That's ugly. Thank goodness for Berna. If it wasn't for Berna, I don't think anyone's doing Eastern. Because those crystal rollers were placed perfectly. We'll see if bydey gets through this first try or not. I'm thinking bydey probably has issues. Ooh, got through it. Had enough health to absorb the first crystal roller hit. Alright, there's the compass. That can tell us what the boss is, which is Trinex. So, we are officially in an Ice Rod Hunt seed. Hopefully it comes up soon, very easy. We don't have to worry about any shenanigans. But because it's Trinex, we definitely need the Ice Rod this seed. But that compass will tell you what the boss is of a dungeon, assuming that the compass isn't on the boss itself, which, you know, renders it useless. The compass does not work in GT. So unfortunately, you get the GT, you don't know what's in the basement, you don't know what's on the second level, you don't know what's up at the top. And there's a cape. So we got both our magical item safeties, and there's a flute. So we've been getting some health early. We have both of our magical safeties. Berna and Cape. Now remember, Eastern is technically out of logic at this point for both of these runners. Because of no fire source, no lamp for the back, no fire source here. And I don't think bydey checked. This is the other thing. bydey did not check the compass. We did get our third item and 10 arrows in the back. But unfortunately, bydey has the compass and is not checking this boss. The core items were in logic. You could get to everything. And here's bydey finding out his news that he had a compass to avoid. PTG, everything is in logic up to the big chest being checked. So we had a cape and a flute up to there. Beyond that, we're completely out of logic. So there were arrows in the vanilla big key spot, which irrelevant. But there was no lamp to get to it logically, and then there's no fire source to get to the back logically. Anyway, Fred had activated his flute and headed up the mountain. And for Bydey's side, you will hear the Hyrulean National Anthem. Hookshot inside Speckrock Cave. So this will give Eastern access while they're on the mountain here. Bydey's going to run over some checks that we've already seen. Not really getting anything of merit. Get a third bottle. That's about it. So if you're wanting the new checks, this is going to be time to watch Fred's screen. Paradox lower, we got ourselves a 50 and some bombs. Looks like the stun prize is a single green rupee. Piece of heart, 10 arrows, piece of heart. That'll give a refill for Fred there. Another piece of heart, and 300. Welcome on into the chat, GFE. The only major suffering we had was we had a double crystal roller in the first enemy room of Eastern, which could catch you off guard, but they did have safeties to be able to get out of it. Piece of heart on a floating island, so that's checks dead. But they had Burna going into Eastern, so they were able to navigate that. In fact, Bydey didn't even need the Burna to get through it because Bydey had enough health. Fred going into the Tower of Hera. There's the small key. Now, with no fire source, cannot check that basement right now. We'll see what's in the second chest. Blue armor, so that is one item. And that's all you're doing in there. Now, Fred could have Hera-potted, but it is a crystal, or it's a pendant dungeon. So logically, he just said no. But the blue armor is a nice find, nonetheless. So it was good reason to dip for that alone. And there is Moon Pearl in Spiral Cave. So there's the Dark World access. And Fred's immediately going to leave Link's house and head on down and enter the Dark World from there, presumably go to Hype Cave. Yeah, Fred decided not to Hera-pot, but Fred hasn't been as super collecting or thorough or whatever the word may be for that. He's skipped on a few checks that he's decided I don't need and has just moved on when he's visibly seen them. Bydey has been collecting things and been a little bit more thorough. Boots on Johnny Two Bombs himself. That's the big find. Otherwise, it's money, pieces of heart, things like that. Just the usual junk and hype cave. But boots are the big find right on the NPC. So Fred does hype cave and has decided to head up and work their way over to Pyramid. Bydey gets the blue armor. Bydey is going to Herapod. So we are going to potentially see the second item. Potentially see the boss. Well, bombs on Pyramid Ledge. Now the big key is in the basement, so he can't get this big chest. So there's the map. Bydey is going to go through with this boss fight. Shasta informing us that Thieves Town is the green pendant, and Meyer is the third and final pendant. Everything else in the Dark World is a blue crystal. We have a flat-out vanilla Moldorm down to the eye count in Tower of Hera. And there's a full heart. So that puts Compass in the big chest in Tower of Hera. Big key in the basement we knew about. So we're done with Hera. The armor is a nice find. If this isn't a Ped Seed, you pretty much have to get the edge to Fred on that decision to get the armor and leave. Now with Enemizer, logically you're supposed to have the bow here, even though you're not going to need it because you can kill these enemies without the bow. That is what I've been told by experienced runners. So Bydey with their Dark World access has decided to head to Sank on the save and quit. Fred is preparing a death warp. There is the lamp. Lamp is in pod Bolock side. And Fred did not prepare to death warp. I thought he was, but it was just Yellow Spike being Yellow Spike. But Bydey did flute down to 4 to go into the Dark World there, and it's going to get the boots. Fred's sitting there with 4 keys. Fred is trying to change the switch. And is having a little bit of trouble there. That worked out. He was going to try to run back and go past the switch there. He fell and got warped back to his entrance. So all's well that ends well. Mirror in the back of pod. Got the mitts in there too. I did miss that, and I apologize. Had two screens going on at once. Look here, you look there, you look everywhere. I don't believe we got the compass in pod, so I don't know who the boss is. But with no bow, you still have to have a bow to activate that statue in the back, so it doesn't matter. But with that said, we now have swamp access, and Fred is going into the Dark World around that area. And book, too. So what all do we get in pod? Book. Lamp, mirror, and progressive glove. Shasta confirming that with me as I checked it down verbally. So that was if you're a pod believer, that was a seed where you definitely believe in pod. Bydey giving us some new looks here, going to the village, while Fred, of course, is now starting to get into the real meat of swamp. There's one item. Bydey getting the small key up front for Thieves Town. There's our first sword. Second ambush chest to Thieves Town. Fred setting up for a Specky clip. There we go. Bydey did get a bow there in Thieves Town. Bydey did not get a compass. Bydey, well, there's the compass. Let's say Bydey could have elected to go straight to the boss. You don't have to bomb the attic. Landmo. You don't have to bomb the attic or save the maiden and Enemizer in this version. Just money in the big chest for Bydey. The big key was on the left side swamp for Fred. So this will pretty much clean out Thieves Town, assuming boss is beatable, of course, which is Lambo. That is correct. I had to look at my notes. This will be a green pendant turn in at some point for Bydey. Ether. Don't know if it's needed yet. But that is your Thieves Town boss reward. We got a moth and swamp. Yeah, just to touch on Cross Dave's comment, they've been through Eastern. We're in knowledge that Eastern is cleaned out of items. There is Samaria in the back of Swamp. So, 40 minutes and 24 seconds, Fred touches the first crystal of the seed. Bydey has 2 dungeons defeated, however, they are pendant dungeons. Now, Bydey has an advantage at least, as Fred's got some crystal roller issues there, and Bydey's going to catfish. Bydey does have the advantage of having that bow in Thieves Town, but we also don't know. All right, that is Couch Cash on Bombos. He's going to do his Agena check, which is nothing. Potentially Bydey getting a full heart. Fred's going to audible and not do Agena, instead going to go in the desert. Desert is beatable with that lamp, which was found in Pod. So, anyway, what I was trying to say is Bydey does have that bow in Thieves Town, but we also don't know if that is the logical bow. another bow could show up and render that play moot. We also don't know if the ether is needed. We won't know that for a while here yet. Green pendant was piece of heart. Desert is, they have boots anyway, so it doesn't matter, but it's not boots locked. There is an item on the torch. So small key will be in the big chest. Cross, what I'm meaning is I'm trying to do 50,000 things here. There could be another bow that's found, which would mean that if ether's not needed and another bow is found elsewhere, there's no need to dip Thieves Town. So we don't know how valuable that bow in Thieves Town is 100% yet. Shadow giving Fred a problem here. Bydey's going into Pod. Now, Bydey will have the advantage of being able to defeat Pod. Having gotten that bow, we'll pick up a multitude of items. So you're going to see an item catch up here for Bydey. Oh, Fred accidentally fell off. I think he was doing a hook speed and he fell off the side and now has to go back through Desert Palace to get to the... But Mitt's book, Lamp, and Mirror are on the agenda for Bydey in this pod dungeon. And it'll just be a matter of going to the back and completing it. So 4 items are going to be popping up on Bydey's item tracker here during the course of his pod. And Fred went ahead and fluffed that heart. Gives him another piece and a refill. I guess I want to clear up the bow comment. I know what I meant to say, and it did come out wrong. The bow was in logic in Thieves Town. That's not in question. It's just that there could be another bow out there for all we know. That may not be the one and only bow that you see till you get the GT, for example. So just clear up what I meant. We don't know the value of Thieves Town in full yet to be able to beat this game. But if we don't see a bow show up, obviously, then we're probably thinking, yeah, Thieves Town has meaning. So Argus here in Desert Palace, we are equipped for this. Fred going for the pause menu strats to use the hammer. Bydey's getting the major item cleanup done here. Now heading to the basement. While we're waiting on this, please give our runners a follow. If you want to give me a follow, that'd be great. Shasta, doing awesome at tracking. Stepped up at the last minute. Appreciate that so much. Give them a follow. Yeah, Silver, I completely get it. It can sometimes be confusing. You know, when you try, running this game and, doing the randomizers, it can be tough at first. Most definitely. Commentary standpoint, you can't just, you have to watch that there could be other options that emerge. And that was the second item on Argus, was a green rupee. There are a lot of things running this game that you have to think about on the fly. So every guess could help you or hurt you. And if you get the ones that hurt you piling up in a row, well, then you're racing like me. I believe that was an ether. That was an ether for Meyer entry. So but Thieves Town boss is required. And if you're in there, you're getting your bow anyway. So Thieves Town required dungeon. You must beat the boss to get that ether. And you're going to get your bow in that process. So a little while ago, when Bydey just sat there with only 2 pendants, and there were, some question marks there of, was this going to pay out? We now know. Thieves Town has paid out. Oh! Outward was a good point. Meyer's a pendant. See, I'm getting too confused with chat here. Meyer's a pendant, so we may not need it. But if it's Ped Seed, then yes. Okay, I need to block out chat for a little bit here because I'm starting to get a little bit off my game. Bydey does get through, does get their first crystal at 50-33. Fred's going back up the mountain here. Needs bombs, so just going to go ahead and pick up the bombs. Fred's going to go back in and check up on Thieves Town. Or Tower Hera. Trying to get the speed hook for the Hera pot. Does get it. Bydey is going to go into Swamp Palace. Eventually, we'll get their Samaria in the back. All right. Tracker has to step away from him. The good thing is, we're not really getting anything of merit in these dungeons that we don't already know about or are prepared for, so. Troll Norm at his finest. So Bydey, having already done Tower of Hera and Thieves Town, means Fred's going to end up doing those same two dungeons. And our tracker's back. You've missed nothing. If you had a perfect time to step away, this was it. Perfect time to step away. Hey, you couldn't have done it any better. Now, we got some new checks coming on Fred's side because Fred, by virtue of being the first up here since we got the mid, we're going to get a look at TR. The pendant is Quake. So Ether is questionable. Depends if we need a ped seed or not, or need something in Mire. But we're definitely going to need that Quake medallion. And there's a second sword in the game. That is in Super Bunny. The first sword was Thieves Town ambush chest that we found between the two runners. Half magic and hookshot cave. That's nice. And also the other armor. $12 hearts and red armor should be more than plenty for these runners. Fred's going to go ahead and clean up the Dark World checks and go for the spike chest. And spike cave. Bydey is one room away from getting Samaria. And what does Fred do next? As Bydey prepares to head towards Moth. Fred's going to get some bonking out of the way here. Bonk in for the first chest. Bonk Rocks has nothing. So this is the village of outcast checks for Fred. We'll see if Fred goes in to Thieves Town or not. And then we'll see how deep. We know that there's only one item in the back of Thieves Town. So you could get in here, check your front 4, rush the boss, you're good. Master Sword for Fred right here. There's the bow and arrow for Fred. Big key right here. So Fred has knowledge. 2 items are left. We'll see what decision Fred makes. Rush to boss or full clear. Well, bydey's going to go ahead and get desert out of the way and get that crystal. Fred is going to go for the full clear of Thieves Town. So while we're stepping over each other's footsteps here, be sure to give our runners a follow. There's my link for follow, our tracker Shasta, there's a follow. And information on the Enemizer tournament, all that is in chat for you. Please give up the follows there, and please go ahead and check out the information on the bracket. Again, this is the final match in the round of 64. Everyone else is in the round of 32 each. Actually have a couple that, as soon as they could, have scheduled and played their matches. And we have a couple of Sweet 16 players already. We do allow playing ahead as soon as you can. As far as saying someone's ahead, I'm not really going to say too much right now. I want to see, I imagine that Fred's in this dungeon is going to clear it out. So they're both going to have 2 pendants. We don't even know if Ped's required. We don't even know if Meyer is required at all, but Meyer needs ether, which is found on the Thieves Town Landmo boss. But this is going to bring crystal-wise. They're going to be even in pendants. Crystal-wise, bydey's about to add desert to pod and swamp. Fred has desert and swamp, but will have to go back to pod to clear that. So there is knowledge gained on Fred's part of the TR medallion being Quake. That's about it. Now, if you're looking at the rest of Go mode, obviously we need the medallion for TR. Meyer will be irrelevant if it becomes a pet seed. We know for a matter of a fact that Eastern Palace is a Trinex. Guaranteeing that this is an Ice Rod seed. So we're going to need Fire and Ice Rod. Now, where those two rods are, who knows? That's the beauty of Randomizer. We get to find out together. Continuing to step over each other here with checks that the other has already done. So Eastern, all that's left is Trinex and Eastern. bydey technically has a item chest to check, but it's 10 arrows, and that's the vanilla big key. So, but Eastern is basically Trinex. Fred just needs to clean up Pod. Skull Woods is out, and Ice are out. Because you can't beat them without a fire source, not counting the lamp. Meyer could go into if they wanted to now. TR, they can't. So Fred figures the next best thing on his list. He's in the area. Let's go ahead and get Jeremiah. And this is fun. Those crystal rollers have popped up in quite a few locations. They have made things a bit spicy. And just the bottle there. Fred's going to take it because it's a green potion. You never know when you're going to need that green potion. So why not? It's free. It's there. Just grab it. I imagine Fred is going to go ahead and turn this in, probably get the purple chest and run it around. The only two checks are going to be purple chest and I believe K45 for Fred if he goes through with that. There's the Ice Rod. Ice Rod is on Smith turn-in. So now, where is the Fire Rod? Could the Bat have it? Could everything just be right here? Nope, that is a tempered, and that will definitely help. Whether Magic Bat has your respect or not today is your own personal opinion, but the Bat did have a tempered sword. Fred's going to go ahead and pick up the purple chest. So this will be two more checks because I believe he already did Stumpy earlier when he did his dig game. And he's already done Bombo, so it's really just going to be K45 and purple chest. There's your Quake. Which brings up the ugly idea of first check TR. Okay, Fred didn't do Stumpy, but they'll pick it up nonetheless. It's just 10 arrows. It opens up an ugly premise of a first check TR, which I have seen happen in the Enemizer tournament. Ken, we don't have a fire rod. You cannot enter Skull Woods with the fire rod in the back. But no one has checked the front of where they can go in. Therefore, it could be sitting there. We don't know. But it won't be sitting there because it was just found on purple chest. So the entire Smith chain turn-in is your answer. So at 107.55, this is go mode. Actually, 107.37. I went back and checked my time. So Fred is going to clean up Pod and Eastern Palace. We know what the answer is for Bydey. You gotta do that full Smith chain. Full Smith chain merits you a green potion in a bottle. Not sure where he got that mushroom at, but it was nothing. The hammer pegs got you a green potion. The ice rod was on the Smith turn-in. The magic bat got you a progressive sword. K45 got you the quake needed for TR. And then fire rod is in purple chest. Thank you, Spaces, for that. So Graveyard Ledge had mushroom. Bydey now on the right path. is switch over to Fred's Final Fantasy IX MSU, as Fred is clearly in the lead at this point. Tempered Sword helping to make quick work of Trinex here in the opening phases. Bydey is on their way. So the difference in go mode times are 107.37 for Fred, Bydey 113.27. So 5 minutes and 50 seconds gap between them hitting their go modes, and they have basically the same things left ahead of them at this point. Slapshot Fred did have to clean up pod, where Bydey had one-shotted pod. But they, at the point of their go mode, that was the only difference. Fred then cleaned up Eastern, has now chosen just to go ice, which would mean Skull Woods is probably next for Fred, followed by TR and GT. Bydey is going to clean up Eastern Palace. Will make a choice between Swamp or Ice, and then head on to TR and GT. Now, there are some people out there, and we all know who they are, that are already saying GG's to Fred for winning. You can't do that. You don't know what Enemizer is going to present. It takes one Wallmaster near the top of GT to completely flip the script. We also don't know if we get everybody's favorite boss, Trinex on Ice. Which, that's always a lot of fun for us to watch and is a miserable nightmare to actually play as the runner. So those two examples alone, and I'm sure there's others that could come up here and there, but the bottom line is, just because it looks like that there's basically a 5-minute gap between the runners doesn't mean anything. So someone is counting in chat at plus 220 for bydey on Eastern Palace exit. We're going to go ahead and we'll retime them at Ice Palace Crystal Collection. Two-eyed Moldorm. Easily done. 117.49 is when Fred touched the Ice Palace Crystal. And we'll just keep up on bydey's here. Fred will next be going to Skull Woods, just going straight to the back. Fred? I don't know. Not sure what that was about. Maybe something in real life came about that required or tension. It happens. Could have had to get a drink. Could have had to do the power restroom usage. Throw it out of your system ASAP and get back to the game. I call it the power pee. But I'm going to go ahead and retime when they enter Skull Woods, because obviously the times I was going to collect are now skewed because of that unexpected break there. So we're going to go by Skull Woods entry. 120.06 for Fred. We're basically going to be about a minute separated. $121.02 gained control of character. So 120.06, 120.02, we're looking at 56-second gap entering the dungeons. So again, when they had a 5-minute gap with Gomo, but having to go back and redo pod for Fred drained a lot of that time. But that mummy bullying Fred has flipped things. retime at the GT entry. Speaking of GT, as they take care of these land mows, please get your guesses in the chat 1 through 22 what you think the GT Big Key is going to be located at. Winner gets a free lifetime supply of randomized Enemizer seeds with Chaos Boss Shuffle. I always go with 9. This will be based on the first person that goes into GT, and will go by their count, even if the other person finds it faster. At this rate, it looks like we're going to be basing this on bydey's side. Looks like bydey is going to get there first. So even if Fred were to find it quicker, we still go by bydey's count for this guessing game. Oh, TR. Wow. Round of applause for your commentator, chat. Round of applause. Please get your claps in. Commentator is an idiot. This has not been a banner. This has not been a banner night for me on commentary. I've made a couple of boneheaded decisions. Well, Squeaks, I do have an ex-wife, so that's probably the truth, but... Anyway... You know, I'm just trying to respect everyone's time, just bypass stuff we don't need. We're in go mode. Let's just make it even more go mode. Forget this dungeon. Thank God AccuHeish was in chat. Keep me in line. I guess keep us in line. We were ready to be done with this seed. But we'll let those guesses stand. So, plenty of time to get your GT Big Key guessing game guessing. Fire Rod, lock side. Has the big key. bydey taking the lead back. I think we're going to go ahead and just flip back to bydey's audio. The golden eye. Yeah, there's mummy issues for Fred. I'm going to go back into the VOD and count something, so we're just going to be watching here. Silvers is the only thing that's really going to matter at this point. I do need to do a little research on something here. And when I get finished with that research, you all are going to understand exactly what that research was. Okay. So I want you to keep in mind these crystal rollers are just nasty today. So when SlapshotFed finished Ice, from the time he exited Ice Palace and would have had control of his character to when he actually started moving his character was 41 seconds. And we don't know what happened there. We can all assume we all had a little joke that maybe it was a restroom break or drink break or something. But that is 41 seconds nonetheless. That's out there. Now, as soon as bydey enters GT, the guessing game is over. I'm still going with 9. If you already entered, yes, you have to redo it. And I'm going to do the moment they take control of their characters in GT for a time difference. $129.02 for bydey. Every count on this guessing game. We're done with the guessing game. We're at $129.02 that took control of the character. And we're 1 check in on bydey's side for the guessing game, and it was just the key. Red 20. Another red 20. A key. And silvers. So silvers and stealthers are in GT. That brings us to 5 total checks. $130.01 on the check-in for GT for Fred. So we're 59-second gap. bydey did not get the big key and 2 more checks there in the Hope Room. So that brings the count to 7. Fred went Hope Room left. Fred can gain time back if... I was going to say, it could gain time back if it's the left way, but it's going to be check number 8. I know FSNJ chose 8. FSNJ chose 8. That was the only one. He's the winner. Free lifetime supply of Enemizer seeds. bydey took control of his character on the climb at 1:30:41. So when he walked up the steps to do the climb, came out of that stairway, took control of the character at 1:30:41. So doing the Dark Magician route, going over to that Stalfos room, and then going into Compass Room. Huge for bydey. Or Fred chose Hope left. Is going to commit to the full left, which will probably be defeating that boss. And that 59-second gap is going way down. But at this point, this is squarely putting bydey into just take care of your business category. Watch out for the wall masters category. You know, you're fine. And we have a Moldorm. All the Moldorms have been 2-eyed today. We don't even get the 1-eyed Moldorms or the 8-eyed Moldorms. They all been 2-eyed today. Fred got wall mastered trying to go to fight the boss in the basement. It's actually good for him because it just redirects him over to the right side, but unfortunately the damage may have been done on the routing anyway. Yep, there's the well-placed wall master. It was a helper. Fred probably wasn't happy with it, but as soon as he sees the big key, he'll be like, oh, it was for the best. But those mummies in Skull Woods really... I guess the Gibdos, to call them correctly by their name, but we all know them as mummies. Fred's going to try to get an extra key here. Doesn't get it, so has to go into this next room and get it. And then is going to go ahead and warp out and go to the top. So 1:30:41 is when bydey began his climb. Fred, 1:34:20. So over 3.5 minutes. Yeah, the wall master too. My bad, PTG. I even have it in my notes. Again, this is not a banner night for me, folks. I'm sitting here looking right at my notes. And I'm sitting here talking, not reading my notes. I'm going to have to eliminate myself from the tournament for my bad commentary a second time. I've already been eliminated once. I'll just put me down as a double loss. No excuses. I'm just off my game tonight. So as it turns out, we're not going to make much of a big deal about Fred's unexpected ice palace break there. When someone said he spilled something. Unfortunately, that wasn't going to be enough. It really, truly came down to GT routing. Because if Fred does bydey's route and bydey does Fred's route, we're flipped. But bydey he was in the Mentor tournament this year, but he does a lot of NMG. He was in the Mentor tournament being new to Randomizer, and he's really started picking up on a lot of things. He's, you know, just easily slid in there to the scene and is doing really well for himself. So I knew he was no joke. with his execution. I was lucky I didn't get him in the mentor tournament. He would have destroyed me. As it is, get your GGs in chat for bydey, who is going to advance to the next round of the tournament, crossing the bridge in an official time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 44 seconds. We're going to go ahead and invite bydey in here, while Fred is going to go ahead and finish up the race. Tri-X, TR1 XXX is the name. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm terrible at that. They're waiting in the round of 32 for bydey. The round of 32 is this week, so they will be scheduling as soon as they can get their matches scheduled. And as Fred begins the fight against Agatu, we are joined in the booth by bydey. GG's bydey on your race and your win.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Boy, that was quite a crystal roller seat, among other things, but, you know, kind of talk to us about it and tell us how you felt.
To be honest, I didn't feel really good about the seed, if I'm being honest. I felt that I played it probably as worse as I probably could have played it to begin with. I don't know. I played some big kind of goofier plays and they all didn't pay off. Like I didn't have enough stuff to fight the mini Moldarm cave, so I had to double dip that. I went to Agina's cave or whatever. I had nothing. I orphaned the Wishing Well, and I kind of cleared some things that didn't have to, like Thieves Town. I fully cleared it. If I'd just went to the boss, that would have probably been a better play. I went all the way to the back of Eastern, and I forgot that you can check the bosses when you get a compass, so I did that for no reason.
I was sitting there saying, like, bydey.
Yeah,
I was like, well, bydey.
Yeah, I realized when I got there, I was like, oh my. So, I mean, I had to be behind. Like, I had to be hugely behind, because I can't really see any way, unless it was death, that I was ahead. Because I pretty much dislocated everything in the wrong order.
You were... So when you both hit your go modes doing the same thing, as Fred is now in the Ganon fight on our stream, there was about a 5-some minute gap. But Fred still had to go back because he did pod, then Thieves Town, where you did it the other way. He had to go back to pod and finish, so that wiped out a lot of the time.
He did a double dip in pod?
Yes.
Just like...
Yeah, he had to go back and beat the boss. He did everything else but beat the boss, where you had to bow so you could immediately go there.
Okay. That was my question then, I guess.
And Fred is on the final phase of Ganon here. Just a couple of silver shots away. And get your GGs in chat for Slapshot Fred. Going to finish this race. Looks like to be a 142 something. We're going to wait until he crosses that bridge, and then we'll get your official race time. Going to do some flexing at the triangle. 142.07 is the official time for Slapshot Fred to finish. I'll go ahead and get an invite out to Fred to come into the room as well. And we bring Fred in, so I'm not repeating myself twice in a row. We'll explain what happened and help you out, Bydey. Obviously, you're routing and GT, you could not have asked for a much better decision to do Stalfo's room over in the Dark Magician.
Yeah, that was something that went in my favor. I was like, as soon as I picked up the silvers, I was like, please be right side key. Like, please be right side. That would just be the perfect. That would be a way for me to get, because I know a lot of people don't do that route, or like it's kind of a lot of people go right side first. So I knew that I would have a leg up there if I picked up that. So plus silvers in the GT back half is pretty nice too. Like there's a lot of things you can just nuke with silvers. So a lot of that was some rough gauntlets. Like there was the worst possible enemies you could get. I think in the last half of it, like everything was those bloody things that disappeared and they squaggle across the screen. Like it's just. It was a nightmare trying to kill all those things fast anyways.
Yeah, and really what happened, the invite has been sent to Fred, so we're waiting to see if Fred is willing to join us in the booth here. Basically, the big key was Fred was leading going into Skull Woods. He had some mummy issues. He got wall mastered, and it just opened the door for you. And then between that and the GT routing, where Fred had gone to Hope Room first, then went full left, that was pretty much all she wrote at that point. The only thing that saved Fred was he got wall mastered going into the basement to do the boss fight, which was a blessing in disguise because he decided just to go right side at that point, and he got his big key there. But again, by that time, you were closing in on the upper floors and getting close to Cold Stare at the top of GT.
So what was the money issue that he had? I'm curious what you mean by that.
The mummy.
Mommy. Oh, sorry. I thought you said money issue. I was like,
money.
Okay, yeah. I think money would be an issue in Skullwoods.
Yeah. Skullwoods enemies were his bugaboo there. They really just, unfortunately took him out of the lead and he couldn't climb back. Because if you two would have flipped your GT routes, who knows what we're talking about at this point, Because we were looking at a 59-second gap between you two when you entered GT. So
I was ahead or behind going into GT.
You were ahead by 59 seconds between when you entered GT and when Fred entered GT.
Yeah.
So if you route differently in GT, who knows what happens. But be it as it may, let's see. Give me just one moment here. Fred is not going to be able to join us for chat, it looks like. So he's got some real life obligations to take care of. So unfortunately, we will not have Fred in the booth. But Fred did play a great game. Just, unfortunately, it came down to, in the stretch run, it came down to those enemies. But this has been an interesting Enemizer term for you because you lost your first game on, as what we found out was, just one of those glitches that can happen in Enemizer. You got a key in Thieves Town to spawn due to sprite overload, and you had to rally and come back and win the second one and win tonight to advance on. So, a little bit of tenacity and perseverance on your part.
Yeah, it was interesting first match. We both actually did it. We, despawned the key. I haven't done enough Enemizer to know like that's a thing, so I was really watching that key this time. I've been staring at that key ever since because in my mind I kind of just in that first match I just basically you'll think, oh, there's no way, and then I kind of just continued on like it wasn't my fault, and then ended up the chances of that being a go mode is just crazy. Like that's nuts. So I mean at that point there we had probably 75 checks and that was the go mode. So Yeah, it was a little bit of a rough first tournament game, but the second game was pretty good. But like I said, I think just a little bit of GT routing and some not having the double dip there was really a little bit lucky on my part. I wasn't. I don't know. It was a really rough start. Like Enemizer's quite different, I find, than a lot, because you just never know what you're coming against, right? You can't prepare for what's going to be in the Moldorm cave, right? And there was thieves everywhere too. Those things were super annoying. Like every time I got like 5 or 6 bombs, they'd take them all, and I couldn't do anything about it because there's no weapons, no magic, you know. So I managed to go steal a little bit of magic out of Uncle, and enough magic to use my blue Samaria to kill the the enemies in there. So yeah, that start was really rough.
And then going into Eastern to begin with, you know, you walk in first room, there's 2 crystal rollers converging right on each other.
Yeah, that was that was interesting. Yeah, what was the CR rates? We have
154 for you, and 151 for you, 154 for Fred.
151, 154. Okay. There wasn't any kind of major items that we didn't, get or anything.
No,
like that?
You pretty much guys got the same stuff. I know that there was. I mean, really looking at it, I think you guys pretty much did get everything the same except for 1 heart piece and another couple of hearts. Actually, he was a heart and 1 heart piece behind you. And I know he skipped some stuff. He skipped. I don't think he ever checked Zora. I don't recall him checking Zora. But
yeah, I went there with not enough money, so that was the answer. It was over for me, I think.
If he did, I don't remember it, and it was so long ago, and it's so inconsequential at this point, it doesn't matter. So, but skipped on the big heart, skipped on a heart piece, and lost switch drop down. That's pretty much the difference.
Yeah, the Smith chain was pretty hot. Like that was the hottest Smith chain I've had for a very long time. What we had the fire rod and the ice rod on the Smith chain. Which was a gold mode items.
You had a green goo. You had, doing the magic bat gave you a sword. You got the necessary quake in K45. I mean, that was definitely one of the hottest K45s, or not K45, Smith chains I've seen. Yeah. So next round, you got. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. I've said this 3 times. I just spelled out TR1XXX, like try 3X. I'm not sure. I will find out. Trixie. Could be Trixie. But you do have them in the next round. Are you familiar with them? Have you ever had a chance to race against them yet? Or
I have not. No, I don't know who they are now. So I'll definitely maybe watch a couple of races. Probably have to get them going right away, though, because we're a little bit. I know this was the last one in the Swiss, and we got a little bit behind. So hopefully, get those 2 matches in pretty quickly. So,
yeah, and of course, you and them can go ahead and get together in the Enemizer Discord and go ahead and schedule and get in for the next round there. Anything else you want to add about the seed or the tournament so far?
Yeah, I mean, not really too much to add. Just Enemizer is one of those things that, like, I think you just have to, not let the game get to you because sometimes it's not your fault, so that's the biggest thing I'm kind of struggling with Enemizer. It doesn't usually bother me too much, but Enemizer just riles me up sometimes. Like it just all of a sudden you've got 15 hearts and then 2 rooms later you've got 3 hearts and you don't know what happened. You're struggling for life. I mean, we had lots of bottles this seed, but on other seeds, we didn't have a sword for ages either too. Like whole sword running around with a hammer on Enemizer is not fun. So but yeah, having fun still, which is the main thing. So
and you're still alive, so hey, you got 2 more matches at least left. All I gotta do is just keep it going. You never know what each seed's gonna bring. One will bring a headache, one maybe good. you've at least got a couple of good ones go your way. So, again, GG's, on your victory tonight. Coming back from behind there and down 1-0 in the series. We'll see what you can do in the next round.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the restream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Take care.
No problem. You take care, buddy. And on that note, folks, that is going to bring this broadcast to an end. So earlier in the chat, I'll go ahead and throw those back in there. There are the links to our runners, to myself, to our tracker, Shasta. Please give the follows. We would all definitely appreciate it. You were entertained by a great race, so the runners definitely deserve that. I want to say a shout out to AccuHeist for reminding me that I'm not good at my commentary job, apparently, as I'm trying to skip a dungeon for everybody. Forgot all about, TR being a crystal and all, but, whatever. Those things happen. We all had fun together, and that's the most important thing. So there will be plenty of more Enemizer tournament. Again, we are squarely in the round of 32 right now for everybody else. We have a couple people that have made their way to the round of 16. So just keep your eyes peeled on the schedule. I will put information up in the chat as well for the Enemizer tournament with the bracket, the schedule, and Discord. We do look forward to getting more matches on the air as the week goes on, so just stay tuned to your SpeedGaming channels, and you'll be able to check out more action. Until then, again, this has been MooCow1980. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and I do hope that you all have yourselves a wonderful rest of your evening. Stay warm out there. Peace.